Our oceans are in trouble. They really are. And we've seen a number of countries step up and do good and seek to really mobilize. But this trouble is trouble that we, humanity, have caused by our careless ways. We've plunged them into through this triple planetary crisis that we at Unep speak on. I'm not going to describe for you in great details what we are seeing in the oceans, but we know that the oceans are this innocence. Because the oceans will absorb the CO2. They can't help it. So you put it out there, and the oceans will take it in. But understand this, that every second breath that you breathe is created by the oceans, the other breath by the nature on our terrestrial land. The oceans matter. We arrived from the oceans, and as our temperatures in the oceans incline, then indeed seas and coral reefs and the vegetation along the coast and the migration of fish up and down will change. So will currents, and when currents change, so will rainfall. So the understanding of this, that this heating of the oceans, the innocence, is something that we must tackle by tackling climate change. There are, in addition to that, the pollution effluents. There are over 500 dead zones in the oceans. What is a dead zone? Well, I was very happy that one of the resolutions you may not know about that was also gavelled at UNEA in Nairobi, UNEA 5.2, was a resolution that deals with stopping nitrogen overuse, because that nitrogen that we use in our agriculture to boost production, which is well understood, can be overused. It runs right into the waterways and causes eutrophication in our rivers and indeed dead zones in the seas where the fishermen and women can then not catch their catch. So we met in Nairobi for UNEP, for UNEA 5.2. We took 14 big decisions. A decision that also impacts on the oceans is the plastics decision. The world came together and said, look, we cannot continue this carelessness with plastic where we use it just once and throw it as forever chemicals. These can last for thousands of years in the landfill. And when we think they have broken down, they have not broken down. They have just become ever smaller elements of plastic that we then can absorb in our drinking water, that we then can absorb through what we eat, etc., the meat that we eat, etc. Is that the life we want? No. So countries agreed to establish a binding agreement on plastics. I come just from Dakar, where we have started the negotiations already. Nation states decided at UNEA 5.2 in March of this year that it should be legally binding, that it should be from source to sea, that it should be a matter that should, yes, have the voices of industry, and yes, also hear from those at the lower end of the plastic chain economy, the waste pickers, people whose lives depend on living in the plastics economy. And yes, it should deal with the fact that there is a different stratification of countries. Fiji will have different concerns around plastics that, say, the European Union or the United States, and all of us need to come together for solutions. So getting that, landing that decisions and finding a way